Hey, what's up everyone? And I know it's been a while since I did videos, but keep it short, sweet, to the point. I was away for a while. Where else than Hollywood? Yeah, I did a little Hollywood touring. Then went down to San Diego for about a week, but most importantly, went to Universal Studios Hollywood. Finally, right? Yeah, I know I'm biased because I love Orlando's park. You know, it has the Islands Adventure Place and the original park, and it has gone through changes over the years, and this one's no exception too as well. But let's be honest here, not to crap on Florida's park, but this is where all the movie action is. Let's be honest here. First of all, yeah, the set tour. Yeah, this place has the set tour and has it all. Yes, it's went through changes over the years, like, and it's added new additions over the years, but let's cut the shit and get to it, shall we? First of all, the thing I was excited about to see was the Back to the Future clock tower and all the other sets. Great Scott, this was heavy. And yes, of course I went up to Griffin's Observatory and saw the Back to the Future 2 tunnel, as well as the Roger Rabbit tunnel. Yeah, I guess Robert Zemeckis likes this one. But let's not get too sidetracked. Yes, there it is, the Back to the Future clock tower. Not much to say there, it was amazing to see. And this set tour, if you go to this park, there's no reason you should ever skip this one. I mean, it should be illegal to skip this tour. I mean, it's the only reason to come here. And there's other things here that Orlando's park doesn't have either. And also keep in mind, I'm not going to do the same exact attractions that are basically the same, like Transformers, Shrek, The Simpsons, Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem, and so forth. So, yes, there's other attractions that they also have, but those four are pretty much the same, aside from the building design being pretty much different. But otherwise, yeah, the set tour is a must. As I said, the clock tower you see from Back to the Future. You see the set from Three Amigos. You see the set from other shows that are out now, supposedly like Superstore and Desperate Housewives and so forth. And yes, you see the car from Back to the Future. You know, Biff's car from 1955 that he pretty much rolls into a manure truck. Not once, but twice, of course, in the second movie. As well as the vehicles from Jurassic Park. You got a flood scene, you got, of course, the Bates Motel, as well as Norman Bates' house with a guy who plays Norman Bates and threatens you with a knife. It's pretty cool. Or the world set from the 2005 Spielberg remake with the plane crash scene. The Whoville from the 2000 film directed by Ron Howard. It just goes on. But the main attraction parts that I want to talk about are first, King Kong 360 3D. Of course, this is in place of the original King Kong Encounter, which was similar to the Florida attraction, which of course burnt down in that huge fire many years ago. But of course this one is the replacement, and yes, I'm well aware that Orlando just opened one that's pretty similar, but I think the one in Orlando looks to have a lot more to it, being that it's not part of the set tour. But this one actually was pretty cool, and I'm just going to give Wii Remote reactions to it. So, yeah, the design to it is pretty good. Yes, it's 3D, and you got some water that comes at you, and I like the fact that it feels like you're in the jungle, and also the fact that the tram rocks back and forth and to give the real effect to it. So it's cool and everything with the dinosaurs, King Kong coming out at you and trying to fight the dinosaurs and almost feel like you're falling at the end of it. But it's a little bit short, and if you want to see footage of it, there's plenty of it on YouTube. I'm sure there is with the Orlando attraction too as well. But pretty cool, little short, but it's definitely worth it on this set tour. So my final verdict, rocking Wii Remote Wii Motion Plus up and then playing Wii Remote up. I think that should do it there. So, yeah, pretty cool ride into the jungle to see the 8th wonder of the world, as well as, yeah, you got the earthquake part, which, even though they don't address it as earthquake, but come on, doesn't it remind you of the original attraction at Orlando too as well? I mean, come on. Even though that's not there, I mean, even when it was called Disaster, of course it's making way for a Fast and Furious, and what do you know, it's on this set tour too as well as Jaws, but let's cut the shit. Fast and Furious, Supercharged. Not much to say about it, it's pretty damn cool. Yes, I'm not really a big fan of the movies. I mean, I haven't watched every single one, and it's still going on. I mean, how many of them are there going to be, like 10 of them? Come an overkill, but they're still a big hit, and it's still got its fan base. The ride itself is a lot longer than the King Kong ride. Of course, you got many parts to it, like we see the characters from the movie, and, you know, dance scenes and everything. Yeah, it looks like projection screens, but for the most part, it really is phenomenal. Of course, it's, again, like King Kong, you gotta wear the 3D glasses. And then, of course, you got the last part, which is definitely the best scene. Of course, like King Kong, it rocks back and forth, the tram, and it feels like you're really speeding up, and you're on one big high-speed chase with choppers shooting at you, and guys on vehicles. It's just really Fast and Furious. I mean, after all, isn't that what it is? So definitely worth it. Of course, it's at the end of the attraction, the set tour that is, and the set tour goes on from about 45 minutes to about an hour, and it seems a little bit different at the first time I went on. Yes, I went on it twice, and the first time I went on, for some reason, they didn't show the clock tower, but the second time I went on it, we went by it, so I was like, great Scott, that's awesome. So, definitely a must if you go here. I mean, like I said, there's no reason to come to this Universal and not do this one. So, and Fast and Furious Supercharged, even though it's all part of the set tour, and it may seem a little short, but it's a little bit longer than King Kong. Rockin' Wii Remote, Wii Motion Plus up, and playing Wii Remote up. A little bit better, but it's still worth it. So, yep, of course that's at the end of the tour, and I should also address that, of course, the set tour, and as well as this one, the special effects show, which is a sit-down thing, not a, tram ride, and it's pretty cool. They have limited showings, of course, so you gotta check the showings of what the next one is, and show up about 10-15 minutes early, depending on the wait times. Of course, the set tour does have wait times in a lot of trams, and I do tell you the last one before the park closes, because, well, this one goes on for about, 20-30 minutes, and it's really cool how they show you all behind the scenes of how special effects are done, like with fight scenes and editing and how they set a man on fire, which was really cool, and how they make somebody fly. It was just really an amazing show, so definitely check it out. Not much to say. It's definitely worth it. I give it yep, Rockin' Wii Remote, Wii Motion Plus up, and playing Wii Remote up. Definitely worth it if you come to this park. As well as Waterworld. Yes, another one that has limited showings and is only at this park, and I think also at the one in Japan too as well, or any ones that are overseas. But for some reason, Orlando never got this one. Yes, I know, it's a cheesy movie, and it was a huge box office bomb, so, yeah, but I hate to say it, and I agree with everyone, this show is actually pretty awesome. Yeah, it's a stunt show with, obviously, stunt actors, and yeah, I know, they're not the actual actors from the movies, but it's all about the special effects here. And yes, if you sit in the front rows, right by where all the water and actors are, you're going to, obviously, they tell you that it's the splash zone that you're going to get wet. If you sit on the upper rows, which is where I did, you're obviously not going to get wet, which I didn't want to, because I had all my, cameras and stuff, on me, so I didn't want to get that, wet on my phone. But it's freaking awesome. Yeah, of course, it follows the movie pretty well, which is really what this movie really, it seems like all it wanted to do was promote this attraction at Universal. That's all it should have had. Like Nostalgia Critic says, just slap a Universal Studios logo right on there, and there you go. And it's awesome. You got the guys who jump in the water, and on jet skis, and then when the plane comes through, and all the explosions and everything. It's just spectacular. It's definitely a must. And it's great to find out that these guys are actually stunt guys in, actual movies. It was pretty cool. So, and yeah, I know. There could be attractions, and there have been attractions before that were better than the movies that they're based off of. The Earthquake ride, even though it was called Disaster in Florida, even though it's, of course, being replaced by Fast and Furious, that was better than that movie. I mean, that was a cheesy 70s action movie. Then there was Transformers, the ride 3D. That's better than the Michael Bay franchise, even though the first movie is good, and I know it's getting really ridiculous how Michael Bay keeps on making these movies, even though people hate them now. I mean, yeah, I know, this series needs to die already, but the ride is still awesome. And this one is no exception. It's definitely a must. But as I said, it goes on for like about 20 minutes, and of course, it has very limited showing. So you got to get there about, at least, I recommend 10 minutes before the show starts. So it's very entertaining, definitely a must. I give it a Rockin' Wii Remote, Wii Motion Plus up, and a plain Wii Remote. Believe me, it's well worth it. So, and yet another attraction that only this park has, but Florida doesn't, The Walking Dead. Just recently opened, so might as well get it out of the way. It's a walkthrough attraction, and it's fairly short, but the design to it is pretty cool. You got body bags outside, with I'm assuming dead bodies. Well, not real ones, of course, but it's pretty well designed. Blood on the walls, a rundown hospital when you're waiting on to get into the main part of it, which is all, yeah, zombies that jump out at you, and of course, you can tell which are mannequins and which are real people. And it's pretty well designed. I jumped a few times. It's like walking through one of those haunted mazes or houses, you know, like they do around Halloween this time of the year in most towns or whatever. Well, this one, it's open all year. Yeah, so I guess The Walking Dead live on. Even though I'm not really much of a fan of the show, I never really watched it actually, as, you know, like all those other shows like Game of Thrones and so forth. But I definitely recommend it if you like a good scare. So, but people with heart conditions that don't like getting scared, I do not recommend this because, well, and of course parents with small children that can easily have nightmares. As I said, you might not want to bring them on this attraction. So my final verdict on this one, it's decent, and it's pretty short though for the most part, but I give it just a pointing 2 earmuffs up on this one. Don't be insulted, it's still worth it at least once. So, might as well talk about other attractions that are, well, the same but different. Revenge of the Mummy the Ride. Of course, in this park, it's located in the lower lot. I should also address that this park is built on a hill, so of course, if you don't like taking a lot of stairs or escalators, then you're not going to like getting to this lower lot and having to get back up. Because when you enter, you're on the upper lot, and of course, when you want to get to Jurassic Park, Revenge of the Mummy, and Transformers, yeah, that's how you got to do it. And it's a lot of flights of stairs and escalators. But it's cool to go where the Apollo 13 display thing is and take a look at a glorious view of the Universal backlot, where you can see the clock tower from Back to the Future, as I mentioned. Yep. And also see Warner Brothers and Disney Studios right next to each other. Yeah, I mean, this is Hollywood, people. It's Studio Central right there. But, yep, it can get annoying trying to get up and down this lot. You know, from one upper to lower lot and back and so forth. But Revenge of the Mummy the Ride. Let's cut the shit and get to it. This is where E.T. used to be. Yes, apparently this park decided to take it out. I'm just glad Orlando still has theirs. This one is, well, kind of short. The design to it and everything is cool. I mean, it does go pretty fast, but it doesn't have as big of a hill as the Orlando's version does. And it has a lot more backwards parts of it. Well, after you go forwards into the wall, with the bugs come out. But I will say one thing that I'll give that's better on this attraction than Orlando's. The bugs actually feel like they're crawling on you, on your feet, kind of like how the spiders feel like they're crawling on you on the Shrek attraction. So that's one thing I'll give credit to on this attraction over the Orlando's, but it's a lot shorter, and as I said, a lot more backwards parts to it. Back to the station you go. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. Worth going on, but don't expect a whole lot. Jurassic Park. A few things that are a little bit different. For one thing, this one is the first of its kind, because obviously this one was opened before the Orlando's one in Islands of Adventure. The Dilophosaurus is in different spots, and they have the car from the movie when the T-Rex knocks it over, but it doesn't seem to fall down anymore. And obviously the Orlando version doesn't have that. It has a shaving cream can, you know, to tribute the movie, and it does seem a little bit shorter than the Orlando one. I don't know if it's just me. It's pretty obvious they don't have the whole section like the Orlando one does, you know, Islands of Adventure with the Discovery Center and the Pteranodon flyers and so forth. Even though, of course, the set tour has some Jurassic Park stuff, but this one, well, and yeah, the T-Rex does come out of the wall, unlike the Orlando one, and yes, you do see it twice. So, as you get up the lift hill before the big drop. So, and yes, of course, you get the photo on it, like the Orlando one, but I just think the Orlando one, again, is just a little bit better. So, yeah, but don't be disappointed. It's still worth it, and yes, you see Steven Spielberg's little handprint thing as you enter the attraction, but still pretty cool. Spare no expense, people. So, that's pretty much all I gotta say. All the other attractions are pretty much the same, aside from the fact that they're in a different shaped building, like Despicable Me Minion Mayhem. Has the boogie, you know, with the minions at the end of it, like you exit. But though it does have for kiddies, which looks really good for them, Super Silly Funland, which is based off the first movie. Of course, the Orlando one doesn't have that. So, yeah, that's one thing this park has over that. Of course, this one is in place of Terminator 2. Yep, I know, it's kind of sad to see that go, and Orlando still has theirs, just like E.T. The Simpsons ride, only major difference is, aside from the whole Springfield town being a little bit different. Yeah, you got, of course, the nuclear power plant display thing with the button pushing thing, but that makes the plutonium can start shaking or making noise and stuff, which is pretty funny. Moe's Tavern, well, Orlando's Park has that too, as well as the Lard Lad Donuts and so forth. You can actually get a photo at the kiosk when you exit the Simpsons ride. I believe it takes a picture at the very end of it. But otherwise, the ride's pretty much the same. Pre-show's all the same, not much different. Of course, it's also in place of Back to the Future, the ride, like the Orlando's version. I know it kind of sucks, but what are you going to do? Wizarding World of Harry Potter, trust me, the Orlando version is actually better. This one does have a cool design. It's only Hogsmeade, of course, not Diagon Alley. And so, but no Dragon Challenge, you know, no Hogwarts Express, even though it has just a display thing. Yep, there I am, with the conductor next to it. Of course, it does have Forbidden Journey, which is pretty cool. It's kind of the same ride, except the fact in this version you use 3D glasses when you're on it, the Orlando one you don't. And unfortunately, you're going to be disappointed to find there's no photo on this one when you exit. So, yep, no magic there, a photo taken. Though you do have Flight of Hippogriff, but that's more of a kid's ride, really. So, not much to say there. Yes, you can get the butterbeers, and yes, you have Ollivander's shop. And yes, if you buy a wand in the Orlando version from Ollivander's, you can actually use it here and have the interactive stuff work. But as I said, there's no Diagon Alley, so there's not as much of it. But pretty easy to pick up and learn if you step on the seal thing and, you know, use it in the direction that shows you to show it to use it in. So, otherwise, all the other rides are pretty much the same. Yes, you got Mel's Drive-In and, you know, and so forth, but it was just an experience that I've never had before, and it was really an enjoyable time. I really enjoyed this set tour, and yes, also I came here around Halloween Horror Nights, and, well, obviously I didn't go to that because you have to pay different admission, and yes, there's a city walk in front, but otherwise I definitely come here. But as I said, if you don't like walking up and down hills, well, you might not like it, but hey, come on. We only get to go to Hollywood once in our lifetime almost, right? I mean, that's what it felt like for me. So, till next time, keep watching.